the book of Revelation, chapter 9, and verse 16, and it reads, "And the number of the army of the horsemen was 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushai, Kol Halo Yah, Bashim Shai, Bashim Rachakadash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of great millstone that taught them this truth, and much respect to the Yakim out there laboring in his work, and also to the believers scattered across the four corners of the earth, the hopeful elect in the USA. Shalom." So this is going to be a short lesson centered around Revelation 9 and 16 to kind of give clarity on this controversial scripture, which speaks about the actual number of the missiles that will be shot over here in Babylon the Great, also known as America. All right. And what's the number given right here is 200,000, which translated is 200 million missiles. And this is a stumbling block for Israelites who, understand that America will be destroyed in the midst of World War III and the thermonuclear holocaust. But when it comes to 200 million missiles, they're kind of iffy about that. It's going to be a lot of missiles. I don't know about 200 million missiles, but it's going to be a lot of missiles. But, when the scripture speaks about 200 million missiles, it literally means that. Now, it's not talking about actual missiles that come out the silos, but it's actually talking about the warheads that are going to be inside of these missiles that are shot. As you can see here, you got multiple warheads inside of one missile. And so ultimately, that's going to come out to be 200 million. All right. And now I'm going to show you a video displaying how these missiles are going to impact in the new 007 movie, Not a Time to Die. I keep bringing that movie up because it got some very spiritual points in it. But at the end, it shows you how these missiles are going to react before they touch down. So before I get into that clip, I'm going to go to a scripture which outlines this clip that I'm about to show to the T. All right, dealing with Esau. All right. So Joel 20 and 22. "In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits." Straits means a level of difficulty. All right. So he's going to be in a level of difficulty trying to complete his NWO. So every hand of the wicked, which is going into the laborers, the workers, shall come upon him. When he's about to fill his belly, fulfill his NWO, it says, "Most High Yahweh Bashim Shai shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating." All right. Rain, that's a key word. It says while he is eating or completing his NWO. It says he shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bull steel shall strike him through. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, right? The missiles coming out of the silos. Yet a glittering sword cometh out of his gall, and terrors are upon him. All right, this is very spiritual because this outlines this movie in 007 at the end. All right, it's going to show you that scripture playing out. Okay, so let's get into it.
What are my instructions? You have permission to launch.
All right, so what does it say in Joel 20 and 25? All right, "It is drawn and cometh out of the body, the silos, yet a glittering sword cometh out of his galls, and terrors are upon him." So you see, before the missiles even hit, all right, they disperse. They disperse into many missiles, which ultimately creates a raining type effect. All right. There's a depiction of that right here. Let's get into it. All right, so this shows you the first beginning of the launch. You got this big missile, right? With got three parts of it. So once it gets to the first stage, part falls off and it continues on until it gets to the third stage, to where you got this one head, and inside the head you got multiple warheads, and they come out and they look like what? Fire and brimstone. They're gonna look like fire and brimstone or rain coming down upon this man's habitation. All right. So just like in Sodom and Gomorrah, let's get that real quick. Genesis 19 and 24, it says, then the Lord Yahweh rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah a brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. All right. So back then you actually had, brimstone and fire that rained down upon Sodom and Gomorrah and those neighboring cities alike. But this time, this fire and brimstone is going to be the nuclear missiles to fulfill the wrath of Yahweh by Shemel Shad. And the Lord said he created a smith that blowed the coals and the fire. Let's get that real quick. Isaiah 54 and verse 16 said, behold, I have created the smith or the scientist that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. So these scientists, the Lord put in their minds to come up with these missiles for his work, for his will, to destroy Babylon the Great. As it's going to say, and I have created the waster to destroy, and it's going to be made to destroy Babylon the Great. That's why the scripture says terrors are upon this man in the book of Joel, the 20th chapter. All right, he should flee from the iron weapon. All right. So let's go to the book of Psalms 11 chapter. Yes, Psalms 11 verse 6. It says, upon the wicked he shall rain snares. See? He shall rain snares, fire and brimstone, and in horrible tempest this shall be the portion of their cup. All right. Of whose cup? Talking about Esau, the wicked. This is going to be the portion of their cup, because once America is destroyed, Esau is going to be brought back down low, and ultimately in the kingdom of heaven, this man is going to be a slave for his existence upon this earth for 1,000-year period of time. That's going to be the rest of that portion of their cup, slavery that they're going to have to drink. But this is going to be the portion of the destruction of Babylon the Great. The Lord's going to rain it upon this man while he's eating. All right, fire and brimstone, just like in Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. And the spiritual Lord put it in that movie. You had James Bond, pretty much trying to flee and get away from that missile, but he was stuck. He had nowhere to go. So the same with Esau today, man. All right, you're not gonna be able to stop these missiles. Jude 1 and verse 7. Even in Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, and giving themselves over to fornication and going after strange flesh, as you see America doing today, what is known as modern day Sodom in Egypt. All right, spiritually. It says, going after strange flesh are set forth as an example, suffering the vengeance of eternal fire. Okay. So the scriptures say that which was then is that which is now. There's no new thing under the sun. Only this time, the fire and brimstone will be the nuclear warheads. All right. So again, looking at a nuclear warhead, all right, you got many warheads inside of one missile. All right. So 200 million is not a far-fetched thing to believe when you think of it in that sense. Look at these big ass warheads. Damn. Look at that. So it's going to touch down on Babylon the Great, man. So yeah, I just want to go through that real quick to kind of, shed some light on that scripture, Revelations 9 and 16, to kind of enlighten, all right, your eyes to what that is really talking about. But it's talking about the warheads. So Revelations 9 and 16 again, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000 or 200 million, and I heard the number of them. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire, it says, of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions. Right? They also sound like lions. When a lion roars, that's what these missiles sound like when they go off. It says, now that mouth issued, see, fire and smoke and brimstone. So when these heads open up, that's what you saw in that James Bond flick. All right, fire and brimstone issued out of the mouth. And by these three, what's the third part of men killed? The third part of men is talking about the sons of the wicked Esau. It says, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issue out of their mouths. For their power is in their mouth, the warheads, and in their tails, to propel them. For their tails were like unto serpents, all right, and had heads, the warheads, and with them they do hurt. All right, so this is speaking about 200 million warheads that are going to destroy Babylon the Great in a reigning type fashion. So with that, Lord willing, you will edify until next time I say, Shalom.